Hello, sorry. Sorry that I'm late.
That's okay.
I had to do it from my phone. I get confused.
Okay. All right. I don't know why I've got that on there, but so I'm going to call the Katuitt Fire District Prudential Committee meeting of the 10th of August, 2023 to order. Do a roll call. Ray,
Present.
Seth,
Present.
Graham Parks present, Charlie? No Charlie. And I don't see Mark. Okay. Can we do a pledge of allegiance, please? We have I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
liberty
and justice for all.
for all.
Thank you. Is there any public comment?
I don't see any.
Okay, so as you all know, the school's not going to be available for us to use for the August 15th Civic Association meeting. So we're going to have to be at Freedom Hall. Thank you, Lisa, for your work on the postcards and getting that all squared away and sent out. It's much appreciated, very much appreciated. And so I have a few questions about organizing the meetings. I know that the Mark wants to do a PowerPoint presentation for the Prudential Committee. Kevin wants to do a PowerPoint presentation for the fire department. I've not heard anything from the water department. So I don't know if the best thing to do is to have a presentation and then let people ask questions, or do all the presentations at once and then let them ask questions afterwards. I don't want to get stuck on the school and not get to the other two committees, fire and water. I think we should limit questions to 3 minutes, or public comment to 3 minutes. And once everybody's been able to make their comment, they can come back for another 2 minutes. I think that's fair. If we let people go on longer, we'll be there all night. Seth, do you have any comments about that?
No, that seems fine to me. So we're going to be conducting it on the same day, obviously. And the cards they went out prior to the town putting the kibosh on us doing it at the school, right?
Yes.
No, they did not. I mean, I created them and
But they
sent them
weren't
to the
sent.
printer, but I stopped the presses in
Got it.
time. So I revised them and they went to the post office today.
Oh, okay. So then there won't be any confusion, theoretically.
As long as it gets to them.
Right, as long as it gets to them. Yeah, I don't mind the 3-minute thing. That sounds fine. As far as PowerPoint presentations, yeah, I suppose so. I wonder how long they'll be and what they'll be about. Ours will be, is Mark here? Mark Lynch?
No.
No. I wonder what his will be like.
I think when I asked the other two committees to participate, I think I told them that their max presentation was 10 or 15 minutes.
Right.
So
yeah, that sounds fine. Whatever they want to do is fine with me, as long as it doesn't go on and on and on. That's my concern.
So do you think we should let people ask questions after each presentation?
I mean, it would seem more logical to do it that way, just because they'll have to be in reference to the point made in this presentation. You know what I mean?
All right.
They won't. I don't know that it'll really It just might be bizarre to have that, to go back to the various commissioners when they could just ask them the question at the completion of it.
Okay,
I think that's what I think. I don't know.
no, that's fine. I think that's reasonable.
And then 3 minutes, and that sounds good. Otherwise, we will be there forever and ever.
Yeah, right. You'll be bringing coffee.
Yeah, why not keep us all up?
So the other thing is that we had, Jerry's unavailable to do any recording, so somebody named Mark was gonna help us, do that at, the school. But do we want to record the meeting? That's my first question.
So it was a compatriot or a coworker of the guy that does it usually, who was going to
Yes.
do it?
Yeah.
I see.
He was gonna
I
do the
mean,
setting up
yeah.
at the school first.
So, I mean, we should probably record it. I don't know is it a big expense to have it recorded? If we were gonna do it anyway, we may as well just continue with it that's what I think.
Civic Association is planning to record.
Oh, you're doing your own recording. Then
With
maybe
the-
it's
With the
unnecessary.
recording in Freedom Hall? Yes, okay. And do you know how to compress it? Compress the recording so it can be put, on our website?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I guess we won't, I'll tell Mark that we won't need his services. And the only other thing is that we'll need some folks at Freedom Hall at, a little after 5:30 to help us set up the chairs. And we're gonna have to put up tables for the committees on the floor of the hall since the screen's gonna be down. So,
Yeah, I will come and help set up.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there.
so.
I'll be there and I can get other Civic Association people since it's our meeting to open with.
I'm
Okay.
sure the Board of Fire Commissioners will help as well.
Great. So, that was the only other thing. If we have a huge crowd, having the commissioners and the Prudential Committee at tables on the main hall floor is gonna be a problem. And I was thinking maybe, we could put the screen down for, like Mark, and just get off the stage ourselves and stand in the hall. And then when he's done, just raise the screen and, questions can be asked, and then put the screen back down for the water commissioners. Any thoughts?
That's fine by me. You worry that people won't be able to see us and hear, then we'll just be lost in the crowd.
Yeah,
if
we'll
we're
be
on the floor.
lost in the crowd, and then go back up on the stage for questions.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Okay, all right. I guess that's all my questions about how we're gonna organize it. Any other public comment from anyone?
There was one that's in the chat.
I have one too.
Do you want me to read the chat one?
Yes,
Can't
Says
hear
three
you, Lisa.
three questions. One, school was deemed by David Anthony, town buildings guy, as in very good shape. What reason did town give for not holding the meeting there? Two, some villagers have fairly solid presentations to make about possible uses. 3 minutes is way less than committees enjoy. This is an important and complex issue. Three, given the complexity of, why not have more time to consider than these few weeks? So one, I can answer the first one, and Fran, you could too, I'm
Yeah.
sure. They had a whole litany of things that they said were problematic, from the emergency lighting to the exit signs to the mold that may or may not be present, and the ventilation system not being adequate for housing a meeting of that size, and so on and so on. Those are the top ones.
so it was, the final word was the building inspector. And he has the final word, and he said no. along with the health department, said no. So, unfortunately, it's not Mr. Anthony's part of his purview to decide if people can get to use the building. And what was the second one? If somebody has a presentation, say like, I contacted Mr. Foy and I haven't heard anything from him about the community center, then it needs to be not just, we need it, but how much it's going to cost, and, how are you going to fund it, and how are you going to, what you think you can do to the building because it's not even close to being habitable, and a lot needs to be done to it. What was the third question?
Given the complexity, why not have more time than to consider than these few weeks?
Well, this is just the first meeting, we need to have a starting point at somewhere to find out what people think when they, after they have heard the hard, cold facts about that building. And, the costs associated with it, doing anything to it, using it or anything else, and other possible projects that are, in the pipeline. So.
And now, well, and part two and also for part two of the question, isn't it, if an organization exists, won't they have an opportunity to have their own presentation, right? Longer than 3 minutes, not as a public comment.
Yes, yeah. And I sent that to Mr. Foy, and I, had no response from him. Carol?
Just a couple of questions. So we're planning to use the Zoom platform to do a recording. We're not offering Zoom for the meeting because it gets too complicated, but we will have a dedicated lapel type microphone that whoever is presenting I'll make sure that they have that microphone. So I just wanted to give you what we're thinking of doing. And it has worked very well in the past for our presentations, so that we have a recordings for those people who couldn't make it next week. So just wanted to clarify that. When you said the question I have about the building inspector, when you just said he said no, did he give any more information than just no? You mentioned emergency lighting, exit signs, mold. Was there anything else that, because
no
I'm getting a lot of questions in the community, so it'd just be nice to have that.
I can send you a copy of what I got. There are no bathroom facilities.
Okay.
It's just not usable.
We
And
were
it's
going to
not
do
safe.
porta potties, weren't we?
Yes, we were.
Okay.
But I've obviously canceled those. But there aren't any fire extinguishers there. There aren't any emergency lighting is not available if something happens. So it's not a safe place to have a meeting.
So, okay, and they have the final word, but we're meeting at 6 o'clock and it is the summer. So emergency lighting, it's probably a regulation. So I'm not going to debate it. We're happy to do it at Freedom Hall. We're happy to do it wherever. But it's just interesting that 3 years ago it was okay to use and now it's not. And did they have these same problems back then?
But the building is significantly degraded
Okay.
during that period of time. You can go in and smell the mold immediately.
Oh.
There's the roof is leaking. There are ceiling tiles on the floor, and more leaks. And
Broken
clearly
windows.
there have been some critters living there also.
If you wouldn't mind forwarding it, that would just be really helpful.
Yep.
Thank you. And then my third, more of a comment than a question, is both you have said, I don't want to be there all night, and Seth has made, comments about the length of time. I just think that this is a really important first community meeting around this topic, and we should be open to, yes, maintaining the length of time, but I think we should be open that this meeting is going to be an hour or longer. And that should be okay. If we really want the community to have a platform to to let the Prudential Committee and the other commissioners know what they're thinking. So I just, I hope that everybody plans accordingly and we can have a nice meeting.
I expect to be there for at least 2 or 3 hours. When
Yeah,
I made
please.
that, I meant,
Yeah,
I didn't want to be still there like at midnight.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm
I
with you
know.
there.
That's what I meant. I was tongue in cheek. It's, like if you see the town council meetings where there's a hot button issue, it's 6 hours.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't think this, I agree with, okay. I'm glad I asked because, I'm glad I asked. Thank you.
Fran, there's follow-up comment from George.
Yeah.
He says, can I respond? I never got a specific request from Ms. Parks. And then
Yes, he did.
George says Anthony's comments were 2 years ago.
So prior to the degradation, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, the building's in far worse shape now than it was. And I'm sorry, Mr. Foy didn't get the email, but I had one email address and that's what I used. So,
Now, we just did get emails from the town. I got them about their just lately deciding that it wasn't going to be appropriate for us to have the meeting there, right? That was just recently. I'm irritated that they decided to do that as well. I mean, you know what I mean? Really now, after all this time, and then it was okay, and it was like, okay, sure thing, no big deal. And then at the last moment, it's probably just a liability issue that they're worried
I
about.
would
And they don't want to have any, they want to just cut the cord and be like, not in the last 3 days, you're going to have somebody get killed there, and it's going to be our problem.
Yeah,
I think he can unmute himself. George, you can unmute if you have a comment. You don't have to keep writing during public comment.
Okay, can you hear me?
yes,
Okay. Yeah, no, I got an email from Fran early on, but there weren't any specific suggestions to financing and so forth. Obviously, it would be part of the proposal. And I understand about the town. I mean, they have all kinds of issues. And I'm glad that there will be more time to make a presentation other than the committee's presentations, because again, and important issue. Certainly understand the concern about having the meeting go on till after midnight, because I don't want to be there that long either. But it is important. So there will be time to do all this. And if anybody does have specific questions other than, I mean, I'm not the only person involved here, but if anybody does have questions about what other proposals might be on the table, then I'm happy to see them and respond as best I can. And I'll make sure that and thank you for the time.
thank you. Okay, so I think we're all set for the 15th. And
Fran,
yes,
I do have a couple of questions. Number one, I heard Carol say that the Civic Association is running the meeting. Is that, I guess the bottom line to my question is, are you going to need the moderator there to run the meeting? Or is the Civic Association going to run the meeting?
We're not running the commissioners part of the meeting. We're hosting the meeting. So there's an introduction, we have a little bit of business, and then we turn the meeting over to the commissioners for their meeting. Like we did with the water commissioners in April, like we did with every other organization. So does that help clarify it, John?
Not really.
Right.
I just need to know if I play a part in this meeting as a moderator, that's all.
well, we need to have somebody time the, we can have somebody else do the timing of when people start talking and giving them the warning. And I just think that it would be helpful if you were there to act as a moderator and because this is an important decision, important discussion, and we want to make sure that people don't get off the topic. We're there to talk about the school.
Okay, yeah, I'm more than willing to be there. I was
Yeah.
planning on it and had started writing up an introduction myself, but I didn't want to, overstep a bound if in fact the Civic Association was going to run the meeting itself. So Carol, is there a point at which you would turn the running of the meeting over to me?
Yes, if that's, I mean, yeah, I will be introducing the commissioners, or can just introduce you and you can do all that. So that would be great. I'd love to do that.
Okay.
I'm just there because it's a Civic Association community meeting and we do, it happens to be our annual meeting as well. We have one vote we have to take, and then I'm hoping it'll be less than 5 minutes.
Okay,
And I can introduce you as our Katuitt Fire District moderator and give you the lapel mic, and we go from there.
okay. And then I do have a couple of other questions. Will anyone be allowed to speak, share their ideas, or will this be restricted to, residents?
No, actually, it's a public meeting, so anybody can be allowed to speak. If they come from Timbuktu and fly in for the meeting, they can speak. That's
Okay.
straight from the Inspector General's office of the state. Anybody can speak, and nobody has to tell us their name or address. That
So
was
I-
also weird, but yeah, so anybody can speak. It's just for 3 minutes.
Okay, and there will be, besides the one vote that Carol spoke of for the Civic Association, there'll be no votes taken.
No, this is
Okay,
just an informational session, and for information both ways. For the
Okay.
public and for the fire district.
all right, so we'll leave it at 3 minutes as the first presentation, and once everybody else has spoken, if you want to come back for a second time, it would be for 2 minutes.
Right,
My understanding, the presentations
Okay.
are 10 to
I think
15 minutes, and then
Right.
questions are
Well-
3 minutes.
correct.
You had said 3 minutes.
Okay, I'm sorry. And right now, there are only 2 presentations being made.
That we're aware of, yeah.
Will
I'll
there,
check with the water department and see what they're planning on doing.
all right, but if some other organization comes along and wants to make a presentation,
Yep, then we can give them 10 to 15 minutes.
okay, and is that spelled out in the postcard that Lisa sent out or will send out?
I don't think so.
No, the postcard invites people to come and present their ideas and funding opportunities.
Do we want to ask George, since he is here and is a likely candidate for that position, whether he intends to, and we can make sure that it gets on there? George, could you hear me?
I am here. Yeah, I would, the people that I've been talking with and myself would like to make a presentation, and we'll be happy to send more details ahead of time if the Prudential or Fire,
Nope, we don't.
Water or Civic Association want us to do that. I'm happy to do that.
No, you don't need to send details ahead.
Okay, well, but we would like to make a presentation, definitely, and
Okay.
we will keep it as succinct as possible.
And
Thank
I was talking to the chief, and Carol, does a civic association have connection to a laptop and so that the PowerPoint presentation, so if someone does have a PowerPoint presentation, he or she should bring it on maybe a thumb drive?
Or they can send
Or their
it to, or they can send it to me in advance and we'll get it loaded up.
Okay. I'll
Like we did for the candidates and budget night for the fire department. They sent it to us. The fire commissioners sent it to us in advance. So it's a similar setup.
Okay, I'll let both the water department and the fire department know that.
Okay.
And Mark Lynch, if he has something that he's presenting.
Yeah,
And if I could get a copy of the postcard, I would send it out.
It should be in your mailbox tomorrow.
Okay, but I meant a digital copy. We'll send it out by constant contact to our email list to
Okay,
update
I
everybody
will
on.
send that. Okay, I'll send that to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you'll be using the Civic Association Zoom site? Or so you're not live Zooming it, you're just recording it, right?
Correct. We're using the Zoom platform to make a recording because we don't have videographers to do so.
Okay.
We're not Zooming the meeting. We're not publicizing anything. We're not even going to publicize the recording until we know it's a good recording.
Okay. All right.
Oh, I'm open to other suggestions if you have them, but that's what's worked for us well in the past. It just
Yeah.
becomes a little more cumbersome when individuals are coming up to present, but it sounds like everybody's going to be presenting and being on a clock, and so we'll have the opportunity to switch the microphone.
So you just have one microphone?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think there's a backup, but it's a hard, those lapel pin microphones people wear, and it's attached to a cord, so people will be over in a corner. I mean, they can come out. We used it with the Conservation Law Foundation, and it worked really well.
Okay. All right. All right. So Seth,
Yes,
are you all set?
I think so. I think the only thing that we should pencil in the water department as for a presentation of some variety in our plan, in our schedule. Just
Yeah.
so they should at least have some kind of commentary. You know
I'll
what I
check
mean? If
with
they don't want to get up and do a thing, we should assume that there'll be 4 presentations total. I think,
At least.
at least. That
Okay.
is all. Otherwise, I'm fine with all that.
So I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second? I second it. Vote to adjourn.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Thank you.
See you all soon.
Thank you.